Hi everybody, Jason here again. I wanted to go over some big backpacking terms that are being used out there that are getting a lot of the newbies and first timers confused and upset and stressed and frustrated about what gear they have and how much it weighs. Because with technology and the backpacking world and all the gear that we use, boy, has things changed over the past 20 plus years. So, first of all, you have the two terms that are continuously thrown around as far as lightweight and ultralight. And so there's a bit of a thin line between lightweight and ultralight gear. Lightweight is great, and ultralight is supposedly the best. You're typically going to pay more money for things that are in that ultralight category. So let me give you a good example of that. Let's say basically with a tent, okay? So with backpacking tents, when you have a 1 to 2 person backpacking tent, if that backpacking tent weighs more than 3 pounds, 3.5 pounds, it's not even a lightweight tent. That's just your typical backpacking tent. Ones that I used 15 years ago weighed about 3.5 to 4 pounds, and that was your typical backpacking tent back then. So nowadays, to have a lightweight tent for backpacking, you need to be, they kind of put it as a standard that you need to be under 3.5 pounds to really be a lightweight backpacking tent. If you have a tent that weighs under 2.5 pounds, like 2 pounds and 4 ounces or less, that's where you're leaning into that ultralight category. So especially if it's under 2 pounds. If you have a full-blown tent that is under 2 pounds, that is definitely a lightweight tent these days. If you have like a tent tarp type deal, shelter setup that weighs under a pound or around a pound, that's definitely an ultralight shelter system. But it's not really a tent. So for your tents, ultralight is right around that 2 pounds or less mark is what you're going for if you want an ultralight tent. Sleeping bags, also a great example. Typically your down sleeping bags are going to be well under 3 pounds unless you're getting the real 0 degree mass down bags, the big down bags for sub-zero temperatures. Those typically are still right around that 3 pound mark. If your sleeping bag is more than 4 pounds, then most people would not even say that that's a lightweight sleeping bag. 4 pounds is just your typical sleeping bag. When you get close to that 3 pound or less mark, that's lightweight. If it's 2 pounds or real close to 2 pounds or less, then that's more of your ultralight sleeping bag. So that gives you an idea of what the difference between lightweight and ultralight is. And it all depends on the gear. So the other key terms that a lot of ultralight foregoers, people who are trying to get that lightweight and ultralight gear everywhere with all their stuff, is your base pack weight. How much does everything weigh that you're bringing backpacking? So your base weight and your pack weight, those are two terms that are kind of nonchalantly thrown around back and forth. As far as what they mean, your base pack weight or your base weight is everything except your consumables. And by consumables, that means your food and your fuel or gas. And or sometimes people consider throw in there the water. being as a consumable. Some people, even when you're talking about total pack weight, they don't even consider the water. They don't include your water in that either. Arguably saying that, well, at different points of time, you're going to have different amounts of water. So why should that matter? You shouldn't account for that weight. Well, that's what they're saying with pack weight and with base pack weight or base weight. So very loosely thrown out there is your base pack weight or / base weight and full pack weight. And the difference between the two really is the consumables, your fuel, food, and water, if you choose to include or disclude the water for either one of those things. Then you have, and I've only heard this term a couple times and I've read it in a few places, but somebody threw out the term skin out or full skin out weight. And the definition that got thrown on that one was everything. Your pack, all of your base weight items, everything that you bring in, plus all of your consumables, including water, and even your trekking poles and your shoes and whatever your clothes you have on you that you're wearing and stuff that's in your pockets, including your car keys that you're bringing with you. Basically, for me, I considered this more as and defined it as my step-off weight. That made more sense to me as far as what to call that. Weight measurement is that what is your step-off weight? When you're stepping off onto the trail with everything that you got, what does that weigh? So, I mean, to understand all these terms and the concept behind them is people are using these weights and the measurement of the weight of their items in various ways for the sole purpose to gauge where they're at and what they're bringing. Are they an ultralight backpacker or just a lightweight backpacker, or do they bring half of the house with them? So, and realistically, my mindset is that this is a tool. These terms are used, and the whole measuring of the weight of your stuff is a tool for yourself. And you really shouldn't be using it to measure yourself up to anybody and everybody else. You know, there's people who are real, all about being as ultralight as possible. They're real caught up into all the high-tech gear and the stuff that, covers so many purposes, and they can go with hardly anything out there into the wilderness on these trails with like next to nothing, with basically a school backpack with all their stuff in it weighing well under 15-20 pounds and having hardly anything with them, and they can get by with that, and because they're so cool to be so low in the weight of their gear because they've got all this high-tech stuff that weighs next to nothing. And that's great. That's fantastic. For somebody like me who's got a busted back from a car accident many years ago, I have trying to get back into backpacking after that accident. It's been a struggle, and thank goodness for the technology and making things so lightweight that I can do this, because if I was having to carry 45 to 55 pounds in my backpack, just what was in my backpack, for 20 miles each day, I don't think I could do that with having a busted back. So, for me, I have been trying to go into that, towards that ultralight definition range of my gear, with my gear and the stuff that I have, the things that I carry, and trying to do more with less. So, just keep that in mind, that these tools these terms are used as tools for measurement for your own benefit, not for anybody else, mainly for you. Okay? It's to help guide you through your as you gain experience and as you update your gear and buy more gear, that you're become a little more conscientious of how much stuff weighs and how much space it takes up, and making sure that when you pack for a trip that you're only bringing what you need, and that if you didn't use it on your trip last time, then you don't need to bring it with you this time, that kind of deal. And also keep in mind that everybody has their own preferences. Some people like to carry a couple of luxury type items, things that they might not use and probably don't need and definitely could get away without having, but they still like the idea of bringing it with them along in case they do want to use it. So it's all down to personal preference and what you want to do, what equipment you feel like spending and carrying with you. It all reflects on how much you enjoy your own experience, and that leans towards the whole hike your own hike term, where don't let anybody else tell you how to do things, what you're supposed to have with you. Anybody trying to tell you that you have to get this gear because of so many reasons that it's better than what you already have. That's part of the whole hike your own hike thing, is that you are comfortable with your skill level and the gear that you have, and that you're going to, no matter what, have a positive experience out on the trail, on your backpacking trips, and enjoying nature the way you want to enjoy nature. So that's what's important, and don't get caught up in all of these terms such as base pack weight and what is included in that, and then your full pack weight, and then this other term called skin out weight, which I prefer to call your step off weight. Me personally, as I've started to in the past handful of years go towards that and being able to purchase and accumulate that lightweight and ultralight gear, the lightest pack, total weight, everything, including about 2 to 3 liters worth of water on me, my full load, my full step-off weight, as I prefer to call it, as I like to use the term, which is basically what others call your skin-out weight. The lowest I've been is right around that 20-21 pounds. And that's right at that thin line of being ultralight versus lightweight. Because most of my gear, just about all my gear, is now a mixture of lightweight and ultralight stuff. My heaviest load on my winter trips, where I've had 4 to 6 days worth of food with me, plus that 2 to 3 liters of water, and all my winter gear, all that winter stuff, the heavier stuff, I float around anywhere from 45 to 50 pounds, just under 50 pounds. I don't like carrying more than 50 pounds. My lower back injury really hates the whole idea of carrying 50 pounds. So I try to stay well below that so that I can enjoy my trip and I don't come home really sore in my lower back from where my injury is down there. So I have to watch the weight of the stuff that I'm carrying, and my trips and where I go and how much I do, all is affected by that as well. So that's me personally. So the lightest, right around 20-21 pounds, or 22 pounds, and my heaviest in my bigger bag, I think the heaviest was like 48-49 pounds, and that was just my step off weight. Obviously, as you hike, you're gonna drink your water, you're gonna eat some of your food. So halfway through, that 48 pounds ended up being more like 45 pounds, and by the end I only had about 40 pounds or 38 pounds in my backpack. So that all changes. So it's just a measurement tool for yourself, more so than it is to try to stack yourself up against others, because everybody else has different gear than you have, different backpacks, the difference between one backpack and another backpack, just the backpack itself could be 2 to 3 pounds of weight. So it's all going to change with what gear you have, and and what you care to bring and what you have. So hopefully for the new guys and gals and those who are just starting to get back into backpacking and hiking, that my video here helped explain some of those terms and keep you from getting so stressed out about the weight of your gear. It's all about what you feel happy doing with, how much money you care to spend and invest in what gear you have and what you're comfortable doing. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching.